Hello, everybody, and good morning, and welcome to another fun Friday. And by that, I mean a fundamentalist fails on Friday. I know it may not be Friday for those people in the US. I am in Australia, so I am ahead of time. Do keep that in mind when I do say it's Friday. Don't panic. Don't panic. You're not a day ahead. I just am. I feel like I have to say that every single time because there's going to be somebody out there that goes, "Oh no, I thought it was Thursday," and panics. Um, Today I love Fridays. We get to look at the most crazy stuff, and I found this person. I think it came up in my feed for YouTube because of what happened in Bondi. So I was looking up a whole bunch of Muslim stuff, and this Muslim, what can only be described as influencer, came up, which is it's kind of laughable. So this influencer is called Lily J. She's apparently a Muslim from Queensland, Australia. She was raised Christian though, so she's obviously converted. And there's a couple of things I do want to show you, but just quickly, I kind of wanted to show you her evolution argument as well. Aside from the miracles of Muhammad, which I thought were incredibly funny, the sort of evolution arguments she's got as well should be a bit of a laugh. I got to admit, but I'll get prepared here and get ready to go. One thing I did notice from her channel though is I have not seen any condemnation in, like, it's been a few days since she posted. Maybe she takes a while to post. Fair enough. But she's got nothing about, condemning the attacks in Bondi. I do notice that the Imams Council has come out condemning it. So good on them. They were very quick to come out and absolutely condemned it. The Muslim Imams Council in Australia, absolutely fantastic. Well done. But this influencer, I haven't seen anything. So I hope she does, because she's got things, political things like, oh, are women covered up in, and are women slaves in Islam? Is this, so if you can't come out and condemn this, I I have problems. I have absolute problems. So um, I didn't know she had two channels. Okay, well, maybe she does. So evolution is fake, and I can prove it in 2 minutes. Oh, okay, yeah, no, you'll certainly outweigh all of the papers and all of the scientific investigations that has happened over the last couple of 100 years, Lily. I'm sure 2 minutes is enough to disprove the literal thousands and thousands and thousands of scientific papers and research and experiments all done. Uh, yeah, yeah. I have doubts. I have doubts. I have absolute doubts. But I will get the other video up, because the main one I want to look at is just, I don't know. I find her funny. I find her really funny. Like, it's just, I like it's almost like a parody of a believer kind of thing. It's almost like a parody of herself. I don't want to throw too much shade at the lady. I really don't. It's just I just can't take her seriously. I'm sorry. Okay, so this is evolution, the scientific theory of evolution disproved. Absolutely, she proved it false. It's fake. Sorry. She can prove it in 2 minutes. Are you ready? Set your watches, people. It's time for that world land speed record of um of disproving evolution. Ready? Uh, Wrong one. Sorry.
Evolution is fake, and I can prove it. Did you know that evolution is based on four major ideas, but not one of them has ever been proven? So,
What four major ideas would that be? I'm not entirely sure what she's talking about.
number one is that life comes from non life, but we have not one single example of life ever coming from non life. How can something possibly come from nothing? It's impossible. Number
Okay, so what she's talking about is abiogenesis. I'm sure she's just copied this off some Christian website or something, because that's abiogenesis. That's not evolution. So Tell me you don't know anything about evolution without telling me you don't know anything about evolution. Because as soon as you go into abiogenesis, you're kind of out of the realm of evolution. So this really just yells, I know nothing about it. Like, nothing about it, because you've just gone into a different subject. So it's just like, oh no.
Number 2 is atheists believe we all evolved from a single cell.
Actually, it's not just atheists. A lot of Christians and Muslims believe we evolved from a single cell as well, right? Like, it's not just atheist. This isn't an atheist thing. Like, it's always funny to me that religious believers want to set it up as, oh, the atheists think this. Oh, except of the majority of your religion believes that as well, because of the overwhelming evidence for it. Like, what?
Right now, we do have single cell life form. It's called bacteria, but here's the catch. We don't have 2-cell life form. We don't even have 3-cell life form, 4-cell life form, or even 5-cell life form.
Yep. So she thinks in order to get multicellularity of like humans, you've got to have an organism with 1 cell, and then an organism with 2 cells, and then an organism with 3 cells, and so forth until you get to the millions of cells that make up a human. Yep. No, it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. So what happens is, and we've seen this from Cladomonas reinhardti, the algae that became multicellular when a predator was introduced. First, those cells become a colony. So the individual cells cannot survive outside of the colony. They can survive outside of the colony, but basically they group together for protection, right? Like they sort of group together. Then basically what happens is the cells become dependent on one another. So no, you're not going to see, like, you don't have to go through the stages of 1 cell, then 2 cell, then 3 cell, then 4. No, it's just a whole bunch of cells grouped together, like thousands of them. And then like they build a wall around themselves and they become a multicellular organism. So not like where did you get this from? This is so bad. Come on, it's funny. It's funny.
How did we grow from 1 cell into trillions of cells? We don't have a...
Does anyone want to break it to her that she started out as 1 cell? Does anyone want to break it to her that like when you're an ovum before you develop, does anyone want to break it to her that you were a cell in your mother's womb and then you became trillions of cells? Does anyone want to... Okay. Dear.
Single proof of a single life cell ever growing into complex life form.
Yes, it is an Aussie, and it's from Queensland, Kata. She's from Queensland. Yes. It's doubly bad for you guys. It's doubly bad for Kata and Beamsy, because she's a Queenslander. Okay, so she says we've never had an example of 1 cell growing into a complex life form. Lily. You're an organism that grew from a single cell. It's always Queenslanders, yeah. Look, you're a person that has grown from a single cell. You're the proof. You're the proof. Oh, you're New South Wales? Oh. Okay, I'm sorry, Kata.
Never. Number 3 is time and chance can build life. So the theory is life basically is this one giant coincidence, and that if you wait long enough, like billions of years, the impossible eventually becomes possible. But in reality, this is the complete opposite. Time actually destroys things.
Okay, that's not entirely true. Time does not destroy things, and time is not a thing by itself. It's sort of space-time. And the whole idea that, oh, we just think it's probabilistic. No, not necessarily. Like, it may not be chance. It may be, Alex O'Connor did a thing about this. Maybe life is what sort of arises when the right conditions are there. We're not sure that it's chance. I have no idea. I think that sort of saying, hey, it's just all chance. But the question that I would have is, if it was done on purpose by some kind of deity, why do we find the building blocks of life, like all 5 of the base nucleotides and something like 14 of the amino acids required for life on the asteroid Bennu that is currently orbiting the sun? Like, we find a lot of the building blocks of life there. So, this is what we call this an appeal to like, you're just appealing to your incredulity. You're just saying, well, I'm incredulous that it could happen, so it can't have happened. Right? Like, there is no actual argument to say, hey, and for just one example, an asteroid carrying these complex chemicals hits into the Earth and causes life to start its process. That's the panspermia sort of, or a panspermia/RNA world, like a hybrid theory. I don't know if that's true. We don't know. We're not claiming to know. But it's very odd that we find the building blocks of life off on an asteroid somewhere.
Which Mendel clearly proved in his works. So for example, you have all the parts of a Ferrari piled up in a junkyard, right? If you leave them there for millions of years, will they magically assemble into a working car?
Okay, so if you provide a mechanism that selects for a more and more car-like thing, then it may do, right? Like, so if you, and usually she's missed the part about the tornado going through, because this is an old argument. It's generally not used anymore, that, oh, if you get a tornado going through a car yard, it just doesn't assemble into a car. But you're missing the selection mechanisms that basically select over iterations. So you're missing the replication mechanisms that those cars are producing more cars, right? That's what you've got to have. You've got to have the structure of the car passed down over successive generations, because that's what evolution is. Without that mechanism, you're basically making a false analogy. That's a false analogy, because the cars have got to be able to pass their genetic material down over progressive generations. Number 2, if you've got a selection mechanism to, like, if the tornado only blows away cars that are, less like a Ferrari, okay, that blows away structures that are less like a Ferrari and leaves the more Ferrari-like cars still sitting there, if you don't include that mechanism for selection, then you are making a false analogy. Okay? So if you did have those selection mechanisms, yes, I would expect there to be junk that more and more and more looks like a Ferrari, when those ones that look more like a Ferrari are duplicated, and eventually you would get a Ferrari. Yes. Over a lot of time, with tornadoes going through and removing all the ones that don't. So it's sort of just a false analogy. It's just Cars are not organisms. Tornadoes are not the selection methods of the selection mechanisms, rather, of evolution. So it's just a terrible analogy.
Of course not. Instead, the metal will rust, the parts will break down. The longer you wait, the worse it actually gets. So time is evolution's worst enemy. And number 4 is small.
According to Kent Hovind, we love time, we worship time, so apparently it's not. This is really weird. Time is its worst enemy. No, it's not an enemy and it's not a friend. It just is what it is. This is sort of really weird, though. It seems like she's going towards genetic entropy, but I don't think she has the necessary knowledge to actually articulate it. But no, as long as you have sort of energy into the system, it can maintain itself.
All variations today prove big evolution in the past. Atheists say because there is different coloured cats and different sized dogs that this proves evolution. But these genetic...
Yeah, no one is saying that. No one is saying that. No one is saying that, hey, because cats and dogs are different colours, that prove... No, nobody's saying that, Lily. That isn't one of the arguments. Like, slight variation within a species is not the main argument. I mean, it's an argument for evolution, the fact, right? The fact is that heritable characteristics change over time, or the change in allele frequency happens over time. So the fact of evolution is proven by that. But really, she's talking about the theory of evolution, which, nobody says the theory of evolution is true because the colours of animals change. To what their parents were or whatever. Like, no one's saying that. The only thing that I can really think about is that the moths were a proof of sort of evolution. The ones in England, I think they were pepper moths, and they stopped being white and became black due to the coal making the trees black. It was really more a demonstration of natural selection, even though originally the cause was artificial. The moths naturally were selected. If you're unfamiliar with this, it's really famous. So what basically happened is that they had these pepper moths, which were almost always white, right? They were white with black speckles on them. But what happened was, due to the industrial age and a lot of sort of smoke coming out. Oh, good night, Al. They would turn black, kind of thing, black and ashy, because of all of the coal smoke from the coal plants and things. So what they then noticed over time was that because the white moths, which were usually camouflaged against these white birch trees, or these white trees, usually survived, they were now the ones being eaten, while the darker ones, the ones with darker coloration, were surviving. And what they noticed was a species-wide shift of color from these white speckled moths to these black speckled moths because of something we had done. So that's the closest I can think, and that really isn't an argument for evolution in total. It's more an argument for natural selection, that this is one of the mechanisms, and we can describe it as such.
Changes can only be found within one species. A cat will always be a cat, no matter what shape, size, or color it is. So this definitely doesn't prove that a fish can turn into a cow. So if evolution is...
Yeah, thanks, Dr. Hovind. Thanks, Dr. Hovind. You know what? I will give her this. She is just as much a doctor as Kent Hovind. I will give her that. I will acknowledge that. She is just as qualified as a doctor as Kent Hovind. Yes. I will die on that hill. Yes. I know. I'm really I'm brave. I know I'm brave. Okay, I know I'm brave. but I will die on that hill that she has all the qualifications that Kent Hovind does. Mind you, I have all of the qualifications that Kent Hovind does. So, you know, there's nothing there. Something that was posted, speaking of my favorite punching bag, Kent Hovind, Big Bad Mama posted something. And if you don't know, Big Bad Mama is amazing. He sort of hassles Hovind all the time, just sort of as multiple different accounts, sort of as a creationist crybaby who Kent Hovind like absolutely hates. This came in to my chat, and hold on one sec. So Kent Hovind files defamation lawsuit against Mark Stoney. I did not know this, but it was the 17th of December it was reported, so that was like a couple of days ago, right? The summary of the complaint: Kent E. Hovind versus Mark Stoney alleges defamation by implication, and intentional infliction of emotional distress. The document is 9 pages long, focusing on a multi-year campaign of alleged false and malicious statements. I mean, wow. Accusing Dell of being a nexus for pedophiles and a child trafficking ring and a cult. Yeah, goodbye monetization, but that's okay. I'll wear it. Yeah, it kind of is. There's been, like, you know, Chris Jones springs to mind, fabricating conspiracy theories about kidnapping, drugging, raping, murdering, and buried bodies. I don't know about that. I have no idea. Weaponizing government agencies against Jones as part of a vendetta. I don't know how it would do that, but Jones is Chris Jones, the PDF file, weaponizing government agencies against what? I don't. Appearing on the YouTube channel Atheist Junior to slander Hovind as a fraud. He is a convicted tax fraud. He was convicted of structuring, which is a form of tax evasion, a form of tax fraud. I don't, like, seriously? Non-Christian? Can you sue somebody for, like, saying you're a non-Christian? Like, Christians say that. Kent Hovind says that about people all the time, that they're not really Christian. Wolf in sheep's clothing, protector of PDF files, shady businessman. All right, well, my opinion is that I agree with that. And my opinion is that I agree with all of that. And cult leader. Look, I did a video with Stoney, or a live stream with Mark Stoney, and sort of we went through the Byte model. It's Stephen, I can't remember his last name, but the Byte model of cults. Left-handed Jedi, $20 US. Thank you so much. You don't have to do that. I have no idea. You don't have to do that, mate. I do appreciate it, though. That's awesome. This should cover the misspeak. Thank you so much, Jedi. It really is wonderful. But yeah, thank you, mate. But yeah. Defamation by implication, direct false statements of moral turpitude and criminal behavior, severe emotional harm from the malicious pattern of conduct. A relief sought. The complaint does not explicitly quantify damages, but implies compensatory and punitive relief exceeding $75,000. Yeah, I bet it does. Stephen Hassan, thank you, Aunt Jer, thank you, Deviant. Yeah, we went through that entire model, and you know, his compound, you know, I didn't sort of lean Mark Stoney towards it. I just said, does it have this thing in it? Does it have that thing in it? You know, because if you're unaware, Mark Stoney was kind of a fixture of DAL for quite some years. He sort of really helped run the place because he was doing all of the, you know, organizing people, sort of doing things and stuff like that. And, you know, I think Mark is a decent guy. I've talked to him before. I don't know him really well, but hey, you know, to me, he's just a, you know, standard, straight up guy. And, you know, when we went through it, the amount that DAL ticked in that bite model of cults was really disturbing. Now, it may be a matter of opinion. Whether something's a cult or a religion can get really hazy. Like, it really can. But, you know, when you sort of tick that many boxes, I think there is a standard there to say, hey, his compound at least shows many of the attributes that you would associate with cults. Exhibits attachments. None mentioned or attached to the complaint. I'm sorry, what? What? Okay, so Ken Hovind may not realize this, and this is my opinion. This is from what I believe I know from the legal system, right? Like when you make a complaint of defamation and slander, for instance, it's not on them. Like you've got to prove that those statements are in fact false. Right, you've got to prove the falsity of them. It's not up to him to then prove that they are true. You've got to prove they are false. It's not like, you know, you're not putting it on them to prove the truth of them. At least that's how I understand it. I may be wrong. I'm not a lawyer. Or maybe you've got to prove that it's true, or if there's an honest opinion. Yeah, so a lot of the stuff that Stoney said is probably just opinion. You know, like Kent Hovind is a what did it say? A wolf in sheep's clothing. I don't know how you can sort of say, well, that isn't an opinion. That's a you know, factual statement. But Stoney's made a few factual statements over the years, but as far as I know, and I haven't, you know, I don't follow Stoney, but you know, I've seen some of the stuff that he's done. As far as I know, I mean, you can sort of put it up to them that you can say, hey, he is a fraud. He's been convicted of a tax fraud crime. Like in common parlance, you would call that person a fraud. Deserves more prison time, referencing his prior tax conviction. How can you say that's not opinion? You know what I mean? It's so wild. Caused multiple deaths at Dal due to neglect. If you've seen the place, it's a safety hazard, as in my opinion. It's a safety hazard. Because it's got, like, I've got a picture of a water slide that is like, it's just a plastic thing that they pour water on, like down a hill. It's got no safety standards whatsoever. It's wild. But yeah, no exhibits or attachments. Like, I hate to break it to you, but if you are going to sue somebody, you've got to include proof that they've damaged you, right? You can't just go, oh, well, they've caused me $1 million worth of distress and I want, he claims that he has harmed his business. He's got to include financial statements to do that, right? He hasn't like explicitly quantified the relief either. It's really wild, but you know, he can do it, I guess. I feel, and it's my opinion, that this is a slap. This is a Hovind is trying to slap Mark Stoney. Okay, that's my opinion, and I'm careful about how I'm wording this, because if he's willing to go after anybody, it is just my opinion, right? So slap means strategic litigation against public participation. It's when you sue somebody not to win, and you know, my opinion is that Trump does this all the time, rather you do it so that it chills people's speech. They're afraid to speak out. That the financial obligation of having to defend yourself is going to harm the person in such a way that they won't speak against you anymore. A strategic litigation against public participation. It's basically where you inflict financial harm to somebody, not because the case is valid or a good case, or you think you have a chance of winning, but to shut somebody up because they don't want to be sued. I wouldn't imagine... Some states have anti-slap laws. They basically have, oh, well, if you lose the lawsuit, or, you know, you've got to pay all of the legal fees of the other side. So it's sort of just... And I think that happens in Australia anyway. If the judge can decide, hey, you're paying the legal fees of the other person. I believe that happened with Candace Owens, who wanted to come to Australia, and she sort of took the Australian government to court, lost, and they basically required her to pay the government for their legal fees. So this does happen a lot in Australia. Only some states in America have it. I don't think Alabama does. I don't think Alabama does. No, it doesn't. Yeah, it does not have anti-slap statutes, which means that it is ridiculous what he is doing. And this comes from someone who has professed to be a sovereign citizen in the past, has really argued against government intervention and governments and laws and things like that. And he's got a long history of doing so. And like, he's using the legal system to harm somebody else. It's quite, in my opinion, it is disgusting. It's disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. Like, seriously, I don't know. Like, if you have, like, he's got video of this man, this man Kent Hovind, basically supporting Chris Jones, who was a convicted PDF file, who allegedly I don't know how that lawsuit is going, or that thing is happening. I haven't heard anything about it. I don't follow it, but he was allegedly harmed a child on property after Kent Hovind basically said, no, we're going to allow him to come. And the Chris Jones coming to the property is one of the things that I know Mark Stoney had a massive problem with. A lot of parents had a massive problem with it. Like, imagine you're on a compound, like a camp compound, and a PDF file wants to come there, and the leader of your pastor is adamant that he's allowed, that he's not going to stop him, that he can come anytime he wants. And I believe that is sort of what he said. I would have a problem with that as well. This is, and the other thing that Kent hasn't thought of, I'm sorry, this is like tangents in the chat. This is so off base, but I had to get this out. This boggled my mind when Big Bad Mama sent it over. It boggled my mind because Kent hasn't realized Mark Stoney now has discovery on him. He can request discovery. He can request all of his financial records. Because if you say, oh, I've been financially burdened by or financially damaged by your malicious and illegal statements about me, or slanderous statements about me, then you can say, well, I want discovery on all your financial records. Because that's a thing. Like, and I don't think Kent Hovind's going to be happy with that. And will he try to, like, even if that happens, will he try to, like, get out of it and not give him everything? Probably. In my opinion, he probably will. Because he's dodgy as hell. My opinion is that he's dodgy. So I think he will. I think he will try to get out of providing discovery. But it doesn't matter because he's going to cost, like, in order to do that, you've got to get a lawyer, you've got to get representation, you've got to even be counseled on how to proceed. It's silly not to. So is he just, trying to hurt somebody else? What a lovely Christian thing to do. Lie and bear false witness in order to financially hurt somebody. What a good Christian thing to do. Horrible. Absolutely terrible. Terrible. Yeah, exactly, Jess. Exactly. Refused to comply. Well, he didn't refuse to comply. He just didn't provide the discovery until his lawyer accidentally sent stuff he wasn't supposed to send to the prosecution. So he didn't refuse to comply. I guess when you say refuse to comply, he just didn't do it. Yes. Yeah.
It's false. Wouldn't it be more logical to say this isn't a coincidence and it's all an intelligent design?
No, not really. When you use coincidence and like people go, oh, well, that's a bit of a coincidence. Coincidences happen. That's why we have the word. That's why we can describe them. I point to a coincidence that happened in England, which was a girl wrote her name, like a little girl wrote her name on a card and attached it to a balloon and just let it go, just let it go. It actually landed in the yard of a girl with exactly the same name, just by coincidence. Coincidences happen. That's the thing. So no, it doesn't really make more sense unless you find evidence of some agency behind it, because coincidence does happen. Like, you go down to the shops and by coincidence, you meet your friend down there. You're like, well, coincidences don't happen. This must be fated. And this is sort of that, wishy-washy thinking, this non-logical thinking. Coincidences do happen. Occasionally you do go to the shops and your friend just, by coincidence, just decided to go at the same time. It happens.
What do you guys think?
What do I think? I think that you do not understand evolution. You do not understand evolution at all, and you are getting a really wrong idea of what it is. If your starting opening is, well, where did all of these cells come from? Already, you're basically saying to me, I do not understand evolution, because evolution only deals with life that already exists, like protocells that already exist. Living organisms. If you want to go back to there, you go to abiogenesis, as a possibility, or theology if you're a Christian. But we're not saying that we have a theory of abiogenesis. No one's saying that. We have a theory of evolution. We don't have a theory of abiogenesis. There are multiple hypotheses, and what amazes me is it looks more and more likely to involve panspermia, that the basic building blocks of life didn't originate on Earth, but were rather carried by an asteroid, and refer to my previous comments about asteroid Bennu, which is amazing. You know what I mean? Like, that is so cool. But, wild. I don't think, I didn't have my money on it. I did not have my money on that. But, what's important here? The truth. The truth of how it occurred is important. Yeah.
Prophet Muhammad performed hundreds.
Okay, so this is the other thing. Prophet Muhammad saw, in brackets, performed hundreds of miracles. What? I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. What do you mean saw? Performed hundreds of miracles. I don't know what that means. I really don't. Did he see them? Did he perform them? I mean, I hope he had his eyes open when he did it. I I have no idea.
Hundreds of miracles, the same as Jesus and Moses did. When I started
Well, I guess from an atheist point of view, I don't think Jesus or Moses did miracles either. In fact, it's probable that Moses didn't actually exist. His origin story seems to have been ripped off from an early Mesopotamian legend, the Gilgamesh, I believe. Like placed in a basket in a river, I think is Gilgamesh, and that predated the Old Testament. Oh no, I do apologize. It is a Sargon of Akkad. It was the Mesopotamian. I do apologize. It wasn't Gilgamesh. It was Sargon of Akkad. But yeah, like a Mesopotamian ruler was placed in a basket and left to go down the river. That's, exactly the same as Moses' story.
Searching this topic, I could not believe how many miracles he's performed. Like, I'm actually in shock right now.
This is so weird to see someone fangirling. Like, it's weird it's always weird to see it, like somebody fangirling over Jesus, like getting absolutely caught up with Jesus as a person. It's so wild to me. I don't understand it. Like, don't get me wrong, I think there's figures in history that were awesome and did amazing things, but I don't, this level of simping for Jesus or simping for Muhammad, I just don't get it. I just don't get it.
Why don't Muslims talk about this more? I will get into that
What do you mean? Why don't they talk about the miracles more? They do it all the time. They do it all the time. Every time I freeze this as well, she looks absolutely crazy. I don't know. Maybe I'm just generalizing. Nobody looks great when you freeze frame them. I do admit that. I probably look really, really weird if you freeze frame me, but anyway.
At the end of the video. But for now, this is my top 10 favorite miracles of Prophet Muhammad.
Okay, so keep in mind she's got like 404,000 subscribers on YouTube. Incredibly popular. I would want to see over the next few days some kind of video condemning the Bondi attacks and, really supporting people like Ahmed Al-Ahmed that have, done things to help. I really would like to see that. I think that whenever it's more important for you to speak up when it's somebody in your circle. Like, so if an atheist does something wrong, I think it's more important for atheists to speak up than Christians and Muslims. If a Christian does something wrong, I think it's more important that Christians speak up, like the actual people around them. And it is maddening just how much wrong and hurt and suffering that the MAGA movement is causing, and how little other Christians are saying about it. There are some, don't get me wrong, there's definitely people speaking up. But, it's really important that you do so that your followers know where you stand on this issue. If an atheist does something wrong, I will speak up, and I want you to hold me accountable to that. If Lawrence Krauss is out there doing things like that and he's connected with, I have a problem. Okay, I don't know Lawrence Krauss, never met him, don't really know much about him, but when it comes out that he has been accused of SA and he's got a massive link to Epstein, I'm sorry, I've got to speak up about it. Like that, for him to go on and then do debates about morality, I find to be a bit ridiculous. I'm sorry. Like, if you're doing that kind of stuff and you have that kind of friend, I don't know. It just doesn't seem right. Doesn't seem right.
Let me know in the comments if yours are the same as mine. Let's go. Number 10. Prophet Muhammad could speak to animals.
Yeah, sure he could. Sure he could. Pity he didn't, tell anybody what the animals said. Okay. Are you sure it was Muhammad and not Dr. Doolittle? I'm not 100% sure. He could speak to animals. Of course he could. Yep. Yep. Yep.
He spoke to sheep, he spoke to camels,
Mm-hmm.
wolves, dogs, even ants.
So how do you know that he could speak to them? How did he speak to ants? How the hell do you know that? Speaking to, you're right, Victoria. Speaking to animals is not hard. Understanding them back is the hard part. So maybe that's absolutely true. But then again, if that's the case, Victoria, that would not qualify as a miracle in my book. I'm sorry. Like, if you're just saying, hey, I yelled at a cow one day, that's not really, I've done that.
But one of my favorite stories is in the cave. During the migration to Medina, Prophet Muhammad was running away from his enemy.
Yeah, she was running away from his enemy. I'm sorry. He is the prophet of the all-powerful God. All-powerful, all-knowing, Jessica, the transcendental alchemist. I love this. That's awesome. For $2 Australian, thank you so much. Prophet Muhammad is a Disney princess. Yes. 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 I love it. Prophet Muhammad, the Disney princess. I wonder what his song would be. Like, there's always a song in Disney where they're like singing and they have that animal kind of thing. What is his song? I want to know. But like, why is he running from these people? Like, isn't he the prophet, like all-powerful prophet of the all-powerful, omni-powerful God? Why is he running? Why are you running? Why are you running? Like, turn around and smite him or something. Like, seriously, turn around. What is if he turns around and like, engages his enemies, is God just going to let him die? Is that what's going to happen? I don't know. It doesn't seem like much of a miracle. Oh, he was fleeing in terror from these people. Because he's the okay. The
Quraysh, who wanted to try and kill him and stop the spread of Islam. And he hid inside a cave. This is the incredible part. Listen to this. So a spider spun a web in front of the cave's entrance, and a bird made a nest just outside the front. So when the enemy arrived and saw the cave, they saw the spider web and the nest, and they thought it impossible that Prophet Muhammad could be inside.
That's the miracle. That's the miracle? A spider spun a cobweb in front of it and there was a bird's nest there. Okay, it was impossible that they were inside. Or he just hid really well. How do you know any of this happened? Let me guess who was there. Muhammad? And that's it. So you're basically saying, oh yeah, I take his word that a spider spun a web. Do you know how long it takes a spider to spin a big web? It usually takes them like all night. They work at it all night. How far behind them were they? But okay. Okay.
Because the spider web looked so old and the nest looked like it's been there.
Why did the spider web look old? Did the spider have aging technology? What is going on here?
For ages. This flimsy little spider web saved the prophet's life. This story not only...
Or he just hid in a cave and they didn't find him. Plenty of people have hidden in caves and not been found. Plenty of people. Tons of people have hidden in caves. Al-Qaeda hid in caves and weren't found. Like, seriously, you don't have to have a magical spider and presumably a magical bird in order to hide in a cave. But no, I don't think she's AI, Austin. I don't think so. I don't think so.
Only shows Prophet Muhammad's special relationship with animals, but it also shows how God can protect you beyond your wildest imagination.
I'm sorry, so if I'm getting mugged, I should find the nearest cave-like structure and a spider will spin a web across it. I don't think that's going to happen, lady. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
From where you least expect it. Now next, number 9.
Okay. I'm going to be really nasty here and apologize, but saying that she's AI implies that she has some sort of intelligence, okay, which okay, that's a cheap shot. I'm sorry, but you know, number 9. Whew, she just needs to lay off the blush. Look, I think she's done her makeup well. Don't get me wrong. I think she's done her makeup well. I don't know what her background was before she sort of, or you know, if she still does anything. I don't 100% know. Let me have a look. Let me have a look. It doesn't really say, and I'm not really getting a website. She does have a website up to help the children of Sudan, which, hey, big shout out to her. Yeah, that's a good thing to do. I'm right on board with that. I'm right on board with that. I think that that's an amazing thing to do, but not sure what her background was. Okay, no, Beamsy, stop. Okay, just stop. No. No, like that's too much, mate. Like seriously. No. Like this is a warning. Stop it. That's just misogynistic. I don't know anything about this person. I don't know whether she you know, has had a history in any kind of industry. I don't know anything about her. So no, I'm not going to allow you just to. I mean, if I say, hey, she's lacking intelligence, it's just a joke. I know that she's got intelligence, right? Like, no, but you're just being nasty. That's not cool, man. That's not cool. It may shock you, but women who are not bimbos and not adult movie performers wear makeup all the time. It may shock you, and it may not be for you. Okay, it's not for men that women wear makeup. It's not. Okay, stop thinking like that. It is backwards. It is primitive. I don't think so, Beamsy. I don't think so. I think that I'm just fine. Just, you know, I think that is very, very degrading talk. It's not cool. It's not cool. Just look, you can have your opinion. Don't mind it. Don't pollute my chat with it. Please. Please.
Miracle of multiplying food.
Oh, that's never happened before. Oh, wait, it's in the Bible. It's in the Bible. The loaves and fishes. It couldn't have come from anywhere because it's never. Oh, the Bible. Yeah, absolutely, Sapphire. Yeah. And you know, this idea that it's just for men is a very misogynistic viewpoint, in my opinion. It's just sort of, oh well, it has to be for me. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. I mean, it can be. It can be to attract men. It's not necessarily the case, so don't assume it, because that will get you into trouble.
One day, a bag of food was brought to the Prophet, and it was a very small portion of food. But the Prophet prayed over the food and told everyone to eat. And the food just kept replenishing itself. Everyone ate and there was still plenty left over. Aisha says that she swore by God that if they had continued eating, the food would never have finished until the day of judgment.
Oh, because they swore it by God, it must be true. Absolutely. I'm converted. I'm a believer now. I'm a believer. You know, he has a story about this multiplying food. I'm a believer. right? The weird thing is, and here's the weird thing that gets me about Muhammad and his miracles. Muhammad had an uncle, right? Like, so he had this uncle that was around all the time, right? He was his uncle, and this uncle loved Muhammad because, you know, he was his nephew, and, you know, he loved him dearly, right? So his uncle, I'm just looking up the name because I don't remember offhand. Abu Talib ibn Abd al-Matalib. I'm sorry, I'm butchering that. I'm very bad with Arabic. He was the brother of Abdullah, the father of the Islamic prophet Muhammad, right? So his uncle, who was around all the time, right? He inherited a position as a tribal chieftain. He was well respected in Mecca. His tribal affiliation was with Muhammad, so he was around all the time, even when these people said these miracles were going on. And his uncle never believed that he was a prophet or in Islam. His own uncle, who must have seen all of this stuff, you would think. So in order to show his divine power, Muhammad made a prophecy about his uncle. Do you know what his prophecy was? That he would die a non-believer. He would not believe all of his life and die a non-believer. That was his prophecy, which is kind of convenient. You know, if you've got an uncle who knows you're full of crap, right, because none of this is happening and you're just tricking people, he's not going to believe. So you go, oh, well, he won't believe till the end of his days. That's my prophecy. If anyone should have believed him, it should have been his uncle, and he didn't. He didn't believe him. So I don't know what that's all about, but you would think that somebody around for that time would have seen all of these miracles, and, you know, how do you not believe it if it happens? Who knows? Kind of weird, right? They do now try and retcon it, saying, oh, his uncle did believe, but he lied just to protect, you know, Muhammad when he was being persecuted for being a Muslim and things like that. And it's like, then his prophecy fails. Okay, that makes no sense. No sense whatsoever.
What? This is just one instance of the many found in the Hadith where Prophet Muhammad made miracles by multiplying food and feeding everyone, especially during battle and war, where small portions of food and
Left-handed Jedi, I don't think they had Guinness and shepherd's pie back in those days in, you know, sort of Arabic Middle East. I really don't think so. Okay, Beamsy, drop it. Just drop it. Just drop it. Okay, just drop it. I don't want to see any more of it in chat. Just both of you drop it. I could not. I just don't want that to be, like, applied against some lady that I don't even know. And that is true. That is true. That is true.
Water. He prayed over it and it fed the whole army. This is just incredible. Number 8 is one of my favorites.
But how do we know it actually happened? Because his followers say it happened. And that's not really enough, even though there were a lot of people who didn't believe him.
So this is prophecies about future events. There is so many. For instance, the Battle of Badr, where the Muslims were completely outnumbered in this battle, and they won victoriously, fulfilling the prophecy. He predicted the conquest of Mecca. He also predicted the fall of the...
Yeah. You know, at that point, if you know about warfare, which Muhammad did, or, you know, I presume he did know about warfare because he led armies, you could predict the ending. Like, lots of people have correctly predicted a battle. And you know what? It's interesting because anything he didn't predict correctly, they probably didn't write down.
Persian Empire to the Romans. But what's crazy about this prediction is he predicted this just after the Romans had lost to the Persians, and the Romans were very weak, outnumbered, and it seemed impossible at the time that the Romans could defeat the Persians. Now, what's really interesting about this particular prophecy is that he put a time limit on it of a few years. So if it didn't happen, that's the end of his prophecy. That's a really, really risky.
Only if people like wrote it down. Only if people wrote it down. So we get this a lot. We get this from a lot of like mediums and people that do, oh, I get dreams of the future kind of thing. They make a ton of prophecies. Their followers only point. Like I've seen this with somebody that sort of says, hey, I prophesy this, I prophesy that, I prophesy the other. Their followers only point to the ones that come true. Who is it? Is it Troy Black? I've done Fundamentalist fails on him before as well. I sort of go, well, they only pay attention to the ones that actually come true, and they ignore the ones that don't. Right? They kind of just drop them. So if someone's prophesying all the time, their followers will just notice the hits and they will just ignore the misses. This happens all the time. And it seems to be a failing with humans in general. Like it just seems to be. And hey, how many failed? We don't know. Because his followers wouldn't have written them down.
Risky move to do. So this is just proof.
Well, it may not be. There may have been other people that predicted it as well. I don't think this is the great miracle that you're making it out to be. It's just sort of, people making educated analysis of things. And hey, he made an analysis. Great. How do we tell that it's actually coming from God, or whether, he's just predicted a few things? Who knows?
That Prophet Muhammad is inspired by God. Also, just before we move on to the next point, I just wanted to also mention.
Oh, I think the this SAW afterwards is Arabic for peace be upon him. Maybe. Yeah. Just 1 second. Sorry. Oh, sorry, Archie. I didn't mean to say that. Sorry. So yeah, I'll talk to you after. I do apologize. I'll talk to you after. Not a problem at all. Yeah, exactly. And it may not be 50-50. Absolutely, AJ. It may not be 50-50, but if you're a military leader, you may, or even a intelligent person, you may go, hey, I can see how this will turn out in the future, even though something has happened recently. He may have been a very intelligent individual. That doesn't make it a miracle.
One more.
Yeah, but it may be in Arabic, Jessica. SAW may be in Arabic.
Prediction prophecy that I absolutely love. So Prophet Muhammad during his lifetime predicted something that happens hundreds of years later. This is just incredible. So he predicted the fall of Constantinople to the Muslims, aka modern Turkey. And I'm currently here right now, so it's really interesting to see the history of this country. Now, at the time, this prediction would have sounded completely impossible. Think about it. Prophet Muhammad was basically in the desert, in the middle of like sand and mountains and rocks in a tiny little village.
But so the thing is, here's the thing. Constantinople is not the original name of that city. It's Istanbul, right? That was the original Turkish name for it. It was Constantine, the Christians that took it over, that made it into Constantinople, right? And named it after Constantine. Now, when it was taken back, it was changed back into Istanbul, its original name. Now, the problem comes that he set out to accomplish that and didn't accomplish it himself, but he knew that the Muslims would try to conquer the city back. So if you order a pizza and a pizza comes, it's not a prophecy. Okay, it's not. And the problem comes that a lot of these prophecies, if they don't come true within their lifetime, the next generation will say, well, it'll happen in the future sometime, then in the future sometime, then in the future, in the future, in the future, in the future. So at any point, the Muslims could have recaptured the city, even if they lost it again. And he would have said, well, there's the prophecy, it came true. So they're not really prophecies. They're goals, right? They're a goal. And if you don't accomplish it in your lifetime, you can just say, hey, it'll happen at some point in the future. And people often do. It's like Jesus's return. It's a prophecy. It'll come back and, create the kingdom of heaven. And if it doesn't happen, you're like, well, it's going to happen in the future. There's no end point on it. So it's a problem, because it really needs an end point to say, hey, this prophecy has failed. Or else you'll just continue saying it's at some point in the future, some point in the future.
And he's saying that Islam is going to take over the biggest empire in the world. An empire that has unlimited military, massive walls, protection, very, very rich empire. So it's just crazy to think.
Yeah, they don't currently have the biggest empire. Does she mean the Ottoman Empire? Because I don't think that was the biggest at the time either. I'm not sure what empire she's talking about, because it's not the biggest. I would say the American sort of empire at the moment is the biggest, but I believe at the time it was the British Empire that was the big. What are you talking about? Which empire? Because if you're just simply talking about Islam, that's not an empire. That's not an empire. It's a religion, right? It's not an empire. An empire is sort of a nation or a country, a state with control over lots of other city-states, and has massive influence and massive control over a large state. That's not Islam. What?
Think that would happen. I actually got to witness some of the ruins.
I don't know what empire she's talking about. I really have no idea. Is there an Islamic empire around that I'm unaware of, or is she actually talking about the Ottoman Empire? I don't know. Yeah, the Ottoman was smaller than the British Empire at its peak. I'm just looking now. Large empires. The biggest armies? I don't think so. Do they mean the Abbasid Caliphate was larger? Because yeah, that was an empire, but it crumbled. And it still ranks below the British, Mongol, Russian, Qing dynasty, the Spanish Empire, the Second French. I don't know what empire that she is talking about. And I don't know what criteria she's using to evaluate this empire. I have no idea. No idea. Largest religion, perhaps? Yeah, maybe, but that didn't come true. Not yet. Christianity's the largest. Now, sort of Islam may overtake it as the largest, but it's still Christian. So sort of saying, well, it hasn't happened, it's a prophecy, it'll happen some point in the future, it really undermines her previous one, doesn't it?
Of this war, and they were massive. These walls that the Ottoman Empire broke through are massive, and there's 3 layers of walls that they got through to get.
So yeah, they're big walls. Armies have sappers and engineers and ballistics operators. Getting through walls is kind of their job, the engineer's job. That's the thing. The Mongols took cities that were absolutely unattainable by anybody else. Seriously, I don't know what she's talking about.
It's just honestly incredible how they did this. Now,
Oh, yeah, it's incredible. Like, don't get me wrong, I am not undermining the ability of sort of medieval engineering and medieval um, um, sappers and things like that. Yeah, they were pretty ingenious and pretty good. I don't know what that makes it a miracle though. I mean, the walls didn't fall down magically. They had to actually bring them down or do something else. Wow. Yeah, no, I agree, Judge. She's acting like they were the first people to win a war. Yeah, yeah. You're getting real Trojan horse vibes over here. It's wild.
Number 7 is the end of time prophecies. Oh, I love these ones.
Okay. End of time prophecies. Oh, I love the collapse of the entire world so much. Wow. Okay. All right. Okay. Okay.
So much. So Prophet Muhammad predicted at the end of times that everyone will be obsessed with luxury, vanity, and competing building tall buildings.
Yeah. That's not like what? That's not people compete in building tall structures. Yeah, that's happened since the beginning of time, when you like have a tent and your neighbor builds a bigger tent. Like, seriously, that's not new. That's just people competing. People in Muhammad's day were building larger, palaces than one another. Like, kings in the ancient time had already the palace of King Midas is just so opulent, everything he touches turns to gold. This isn't a new thing. Like, competition between humans isn't new. She's acting like modern times is the first time people have ever competed to build bigger buildings than one another. Grander temples, grander palaces. It's the only time. I mean, you go back to the pharaohs of Egypt. They kind of tried to build bigger and bigger periods than their predecessors. This isn't rocket science. It's just what humans do. They'll be proud of their outward appearance by neglecting their inner selves. People have done that since the beginning of time. I just, wow. Okay.
How could someone in the middle of the desert 1400 years ago even comprehend the idea of skyscrapers and modern day cities?
Well, he didn't say skyscrapers and modern day cities. He just said taller buildings than one another. He didn't actually say that. That's something you're reading into it. You are interpolating it. You're putting stuff into the text. So, he may have been in the desert. He may have been a, sort of warlord bandit. I don't know. She probably doesn't think that. Probably thinks he was, I don't know, a goat herder. I don't know what she thinks. But what we do know is that Muhammad talked to a lot of people from a lot of different areas. And he talked to scribes. He talked to scholars. He talked to people. So it's not like, yeah, he lived in the desert. He would have no knowledge of what a building is. He would. And he would know that, hey, people try to outcompete each other with buildings.
This is just insane. He also...
I will agree this is insane, yes. This is insane reasoning, yes. I will agree. I will agree.
Said that men will act and dress like women, and women will act and dress like men. The hour will not...
That's actually been happening for a long time. I'll just look it up, but I think the earliest recorded sort of trans people was ages ago. Like, yeah, so this is just the AI thing. Why am I looking at AI? I wish you could turn it off. I really do. Among sexual depictions in the Neolithic and Bronze Age, drawings and figurines from the Mediterranean, as one author describes it, a third sex, a human figure having female breasts and male genitalia, or without distinguishing sex characteristics. In 2900 BCE, A burial suburb of Prague in the Czech Republic, a male is buried with an outfit usually reserved for women. Archaeologists speculate, and we don't know this for sure, but the burial corresponds to a transgender person or someone of the third gender, basically. 400 BCE, ancient Greek physician Hippocrates, which is the Hippocratic Oath is derived from, writes the Amari, a class of androgynous Scythian priests and healers. There are many eunuchs among the Scythians who perform female work and speak like women. Philo of Alexandria in 1 AD provided descriptions of transgender. Look, they've been around forever. Okay, it's not a miracle if they have existed before. It's like that you're pretending that this guy who was a chieftain and a leader of his people had no, like, just sat in the desert and had no clue about the world around him. No clue whatsoever. Okay, if he was that ignorant, but, you know, it doesn't, like, if there were people and scribes and scholars and people who knew all of this, does it make it a miracle?
Not come until adultery and fornication will be widespread and practiced openly. This is exactly what's happening right now.
Oh, it's the end times because people are more sexually liberated. I hate to break it to you, but there are a lot of ancient civilizations that were more sexually liberated than the Islamic one. The Roman Empire was more liberated than that. Like, seriously, the Roman Empire was known for its debauchery. And as Aunt Jer has pointed out, the world hasn't ended.
People will...
No, but wait for it. You'll never believe one of the miracles, so wait for it.
Appear naked while still wearing clothes, and everyone will be unashamed of their nakedness. This is just so scary. Like, look at Kanye West the other week with his wife at the red carpet. She's literally naked but wearing this tiny little piece of material. Like, how can a man 14...
Well, then if she's wearing this piece of material, she's not naked. That's literally the opposite of naked. You're wearing clothes. Like, if you want to talk about it as some kind of metaphor, well, that's fine. Like, she's metaphorically naked, but she wasn't actually naked. She was wearing something. So you're either naked or you're not naked. One of the two. And naked is wearing no clothes. I remember actually in what was it? It was in Vikings. The character posed a question to the woman he was interested in and sort of asked her things to see how her mind thought, and sort of said, come alone yet with people, come hungry yet fed, and come naked yet clothed, kind of thing, right? Like that's what he told her. So she turned up with a dog, which is alone yet yet in company. She turned up eating an apple, which was sort of, you know, fed but still hungry, so she was having a snack. And she turned up wearing like fishing nets as clothing, kind of thing. So naked yet clothed, kind of thing. You know, that show was, you know, not historically accurate, but I did like the idea of seeing, you know, if you're looking for a partner in life, seeing how they think rather than just what they look like. I like that idea. And I like the way that she solved these problems he gave her. I thought, you know, that's very intelligent. But, you know, if we're talking literally, she was clothed. It was unorthodox clothing, but you know, it was clothing. So, oh yeah, there was tons. There was tons, Jess. Absolutely.
1,500 years ago predict something this crazy. Like, it's just unimaginable to think.
It is not unimaginable. It's very, very imaginable. That's the thing. It's very imaginable. If you are running a religion and trying to form an empire based upon moral superiority, sort of pointing to other empires that do participate in any kind of debauchery gives you some sort of moral superiority. It's not unimaginable. And in order to leverage control, what you can do is say, hey, the end times are going to be these things that you don't like, that you don't want to happen. And so you will encourage your followers not to do them because that will be the end times. It's pretty straightforward. It's very, very imaginable.
Think that people will be openly dressed naked in public.
Okay. Some Greek cultures didn't even wear tops. They basically had bare breasts. And you would think, like, intuitively you'd go, oh, well, if, the women just bare their breasts, they would have horrific SA and things like that. No, not really, because it was the norm. It was just the norm. Okay? It doesn't actually cause that thing. It's just the norm that people are used to. Right? And no, you can't go naked in public. We've got laws against that because it does make people feel uncomfortable. So no, you can't.
At the time of the Prophet, women weren't even allowed out of the house without...
They weren't allowed out of the house in Islam, in these tribes. But, like, Muhammad was supposed to have talked to everybody that came through about the world. Muhammad talked to scribes and scholars of other empires. Yeah. Yeah, so so we have things written by people claiming to be sending letters on their behalf to various different empires. So he spoke to the Byzantine Empire, the Persian Empire, spoke to Ethiopia, spoke to Egypt. Apparently he interacted directly with Christian figures. He met the monk Bahira on the journey to Syria. So we have him talking to all these different people. Like, it's not like... So her idea that he just sat in the desert and had no idea of what the world was going on around him is just not true.
Being fully covered. And if anything, if you didn't wear a headscarf back in these days...
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good point, Wat. Greek, like, it's famously... men in the Olympics in Greece, they did it nude. Women weren't allowed to participate in the Olympics. That is something that I do know. But when you think of Greece, it wasn't the one country like it is now, right? It's not. It's basically a whole bunch of city states, right? So I believe that there were sort of periods where they did and different city states where they did, and others said, oh, that's against the gods or debauchery or whatever. So they disagreed on what was the standard kind of thing. And there was a sort of a lot of religions that did that as well in ancient Greece. It's just, I'm not saying that it was prevalent among all Greek city-states. I'm just saying there were ones that did that.
It was shameful. You were considered a slave if you weren't wearing a head covering. So to even think of taking the head covering off was crazy, let alone being naked in public. And
in your particular... Wow. Yeah, she's not understanding. Like, just because something is the norm in your culture doesn't mean you're unaware of any other culture out there.
Another thing he predicted is acts of sodomy, which is same-sex relationships, will be just openly done and will not be seen as a sin. This is...
That's happened in a ton of cultures throughout time. The ancient Greeks especially. It always makes me laugh that you have, the movie The 300, you have the Spartans who were the warrior city-state that was sort of more or less, they sort of were attributed to Ares, the god of war, considered themselves the best warriors, considered themselves the epitome of manliness. One of their biggest defeats came at the hands of the city-state of Thebes. And they had a whole bunch of Theban warriors who were called the Golden Company of Thebes, right? The golden band of Thebes. And it was exclusively homosexual lovers or homosexual partners that went into battle together. Exclusively. So it just makes me laugh that the big, epitome of manliness, the Spartan warriors, got their asses beat by a bunch of gay dudes. That's just hilarious to me. And beaten really badly too. I think that's awesome. But yeah, it's not all cultures, even at the time, thought that, sodomy is bad. No. Some of them, it was completely accepted and normal and had no impact on your social standing. In fact, with the Golden Band of Thebes, you had to be a gay guy to get into it. Like your social standing was actually slightly higher because you were engaged in homosexual relationships. Just saying. Like this idea of, well, if my culture says a thing, then it must be true. No, it's not. Sorry. I don't know where a head covering is. I thought they were required to wear it. I don't know. She said if you were not wearing a head covering, you're a slave. So maybe she's a slave. I have no idea. But look, I don't care. Maybe she interprets that one metaphorically, that you've got to cover your hair, even though she interprets these miracles literally, which is weird because, most reasonable Muslims will interpret these metaphorically. Like, they're metaphorical.
This is happening right now. Like, you can legally get married to the same sex. Is this the end of times, guys? There is one.
Yeah, I don't think so, because people have been saying that forever. Like, both Muslim and Christians have said, the lapse in morals shows that it's the end times right now. They've been saying that for, well, in the case of the Christians, like thousands of years. In the case of Muslims, hundreds of years. Like, they've been saying it frigging forever. And it's not happened. So why believe it this time? I don't know.
And more, that is my absolute favorite end of times prediction. Listen to this. When you see Mecca, it's mountains with holes. Its buildings will reach the mountaintops, and the hour will cast its shadow over Mecca. So the first part,
yeah, I don't think that the buildings are like surpass the mountaintops. Right? Like, I don't think the buildings are taller than frigging mountains. Mountains are very, very high. I don't know if you know this. Mountains are very high. The tallest building in the world is that one in Saudi Arabia, isn't it? The Burj Khalifa, I think it is. Burj Khalifa? Hang on a sec. Yeah, Burj Khalifa. 828 meters. Wyman. Yeah, I mean, mountains are about 300. I suppose so. Yeah, I mean, sure. But what I want to point out is it's not really a prophecy when people are building bigger and bigger and bigger things that you go, okay, eventually it's going to become really big, bigger than the mountains. Surpassing the mountaintops, I don't think so. Yeah.
Mountains with holes. They've literally pierced holes through the mountain for cars to go through.
They already dug tunnels and mines. You realize that mining already existed. They already dug holes into. It's the Mea Khalifa. I think you're lying to me, Jedi. I think that's something else. I think that's something else. I think it's something else.
How could someone 1400 years ago even understand this, let alone know what a car is?
Because he knows what a miner and a mine and a tunnel is. Like, was Muhammad the most ignorant person on earth and not know that, like, hey, they build tunnels through like stone. What is going on here? It's weird.
Buildings will reach the mountaintop. The kind of modern day cities and skyscrapers we have today were just unimaginable back then. And some of the tallest buildings in the world are in Mecca right now.
Well, I don't think so. Because, I mean, the pyramids existed back then. And the pyramids are quite tall. You know, and so if they could do that back then, what are we capable of in the future? It's not, you know, it's not really a prophecy. It's just, hey, people are going to get better at building buildings. Well, yeah. What is the Great Pyramid of Giza? Yeah, so the Great Pyramid of Giza is 481 feet in like it was originally 481 feet tall. If mountains are 300, there were already structures taller than the mountains. So it's not really a prophecy, you're just pointing out. Wow.
This kind of building in the desert? Like, are you serious?
The Great Pyramid is in the desert. This already existed. The Great Pyramid's like in Cairo. It's in the... Okay.
How could he know this? Now, the last part of this hadith is where it gets crazy. The hour will cast its shadow over Mecca.
What does that mean? What does that mean? That could be interpreted in so many different ways, but I'm sure she's got an interpretation that will happen to line up with God gave him a prophecy, I'm sure.
I even think this means. But look at Mecca right now. What is the tallest building there? What's at the top of this building?
It's a clock. So that's the hour.
A clock. The time, the hour, will cast its shadow when the tall building is casting its shadow over Mecca. I'm just speaking.
Okay, number one, that could mean a lot of different things, and it's kind of it's kind of up for interpretation. It reminds me of the prophecies of Notre Dame, where it sort of is said, hey, you know, the eagle will grasp the snake and take it to the sea. Like, it can be interpreted in all kinds of different ways. Number two, the people that built that clock knew about the prophecy. The people that built that knew that he prophesied that the hour would be cast over Mecca. They knew that. When you know of a prophecy that, hey, the hour is going to be cast over Mecca, and then you go out, sorry about that, when you go out and build a clock tower knowing that prophecy, that's not fulfilling a prophecy, it's basically carrying out orders.
Speechless. Are we close to the end of times? I honestly feel like it. Now,
then that's absolutely proves it. Because you feel like it. How many people have felt like it's the end of time since Islam started? I would bet almost everybody. That's the trick with these doomsday religions. They will always say the end of times is right around the corner. It makes their people feel special. It makes them more controllable because they don't want to get on the God's bad side if it's going to end like right now. They have done this forever.
Number 6, splitting of the moon.
Yep. She went there. Yep. She went there. Splitting of the... Yep.
So it is narrated that non-believers approached the prophet and asked him to perform a miracle to prove his prophethood. So he split the moon. This particular miracle was for his enemies. They may not have believed him. They may have denied his prophethood and said that his sorcery and his magic had reached the moon. But they never said it didn't happen.
So they denied it. And in your book of the guy that's claiming to do miracles, he never says, oh, these unbelievers said I was full of crap. So this sounds like spin to me. Like it sounds like spin. So he said, okay, I'm going to split the moon. They said, oh, no, we don't believe you that Islam is true. We don't believe you at all. It was sorcery or whatever. But you're the one writing this down. So it's very easy to sort of go, well, I did split the moon, but they don't believe me. That Allah is real and Allah did it kind of thing. It's a way to explain to your followers that you still have magic powers, but the unbelievers didn't believe you. And I have to add, his uncle didn't believe him. His own uncle didn't believe him. His own uncle. Like, if anybody would believe the splitting of the moon, right? Like he was a prophet from God, it would be his own damn uncle. Like, this is ridiculous. He probably just went, oh, I can split the moon. Look, it's a crescent moon. I've split it in half. You know, I rode up there on my magic whatever it is and my flying steed and split it in half with my scimitar. And the other people went, you're full of crap. That's ridiculous. That, you know, it is split, it is in half, because don't forget, they didn't understand that's the shadow of the earth. They probably said, yeah, it's in half. But you didn't do that. And then wandered away. And then he wrote down, oh, they believed my magic split it, but still did not believe in the power of God. That's ridiculous. That is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. Are there any extra Quranic sources for this story? Because if I had seen some dude split the moon in half for whatever reason, I would have written it down and made sure everyone knew about it. Like, even if I didn't believe that they were holy or whatever, I'd say this demonic man split the moon in half using demonic powers kind of thing. Seriously, why not tell people about it? But no, no. Skeptic philosophy says, okay, I got to read this out. Now, if the prophet had said, a stupid blonde girl repeat my message on a giant network of image and voices exchanged in around the world, I would have said, okay, now we are cooking. Yeah, that would probably be good. Yeah.
Plus, if you actually look at modern day photos of the moon, there's a crack. It's actually...
Yeah, that's not a crack. It's just a trench. It's not a crack. It's just a trench. It's not. And I think it sort of, you know, I don't think that that's actually how the moon looks. I have never seen this picture of the moon. I tell you what, I'll see if I can find where it's from. I tell you what, peeps, I'll see if I can reverse image it and find out where it's from. Google image. Let's do a Google image search. Can I paste it? Lunar reconnaissance match. It's not really matching anything that I'm seeing. I don't know why the top of the moon is so red in this photo either. It's kind of weird, isn't it? I don't know why it's so red. It's very strange. Is the moon that color? Okay. Oh, this is great. This is great. Okay, bear with me, peeps. I've got it. Are you ready for this? Are you ready for this? Are you ready for this? Okay, hold on to your hats. This is Charon, one of the moons of Pluto. This is Charon, one of the moons of Pluto. This is from NASA's website. This is NASA, right? NASA's website. Moons of Pluto. Charon. This is Charon. In fairness, it's a moon. It is a moon. It's just not our moon. You know what? I have paused this perfectly on the perfect reaction to this. I don't even know what to say. This is hilarious to me. That is Charon, a moon of Pluto. Yeah, yeah. Well done, Lily. Well done. Yeah. So was it like a moon of Pluto that was split in half? Muhammad didn't say which moon he split. I think if you say the moon, it's pretty obvious. But like, wow, girl, you are deluded. Seriously, this is wild. This is wild. Oh no, that is laughably bad. Okay, so this is why my segment's called Fundamentalist Fails, because this is the kind of fail that we kind of like to laugh at, right? Wow.
Actually incredible. There is a full-on crack on the...
No, there isn't. That's Charon. Wrong moon. There's no, there isn't. Wrong moon.
It's just crazy.
No, yeah, it is crazy that you believe this. Yes, that is insane that you believe this crap. Like, seriously, what the hell?
Number 5, the miracle of water flowing from Prophet Muhammad's fingers.
Are you talking about sweat? Is that sweat? Did he have sweaty palms? Mum spaghetti? Is that? Ember beat you the punch by about 5 minutes. Oh, I'm sorry, I did not see it. Oh, okay. Yeah. Gotcha. Sorry, Ember. Ember called it. Look, Ember. I will happily admit, Ember knows way more about astronomy than I do, and I'm glad you picked up on that. You know, totally understand it. It took me an image search to do it, but something did not look right. You know, something did not look right. Oh, hi, Bree. Something that did not look right about that image, and there was the red stuff on the top. But yeah, I mean, it only takes a tiny bit of investigation. Like, you know, I'm just an idiot with a channel, and I can debunk her within 2 minutes. Wow, but well done, Ember. I didn't realize that. You are far more capable astronomically than me. You're astronomically more capable than me. I mean that literally. Yeah, the other image is our moon, yes, but it's not a crack running the whole way. It's just a small like trench, sort of crack, a crevice on the surface. It's very, very small, you know.
So many people had witnessed and documented this. On several occasions when there was very little water, Prophet Muhammad would place his hands into a bowl and he would pray over them, and miraculously water would start to come out of his fingertips. So this happened on several occasions.
Wait, so there was a bowl with what, sand in it? Placed his hand into a water container and water flowed from his fingers. Okay.
Water would start to come out of his fingertips. So this happened on several occasions, especially when there was very little water. There was hundreds upon hundreds.
Yeah, it couldn't be that it was like a sort of concealed aperture in the side of the container that water just flowed into when he put his hands in and caused something to happen. I mean, Muhammad was around pretty late in you know, a long time after Christianity. It's wouldn't be unheard of for people to perform this kind of trickery back then. Not unheard of
eyewitnesses and documentation of these events. And this is documentation from...
Oh, Victoria says that picture is one of humanity's coolest achievements. They launched a rocket that deployed the payload by Earth, and 9 years later it sent back that picture. Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, no, I wish I knew more about astronomy. It's one of the things that I wish I knew more about. Look, I wish I knew more about a lot of things, you know.
From some of the most trustworthy people of the time. And this water was enough for...
Yeah, like who? Like who? What, his followers? It's weird because his uncle didn't believe him, right? Thought he was full of crap. His uncle loved him, thought he was full of crap. And if anybody is like, so if you're his uncle and you know he's doing some sort of trickery, of course you're not going to believe him the rest of your life because you know he's doing some sort of trickery.
For everybody. This is just such a beautiful, beautiful miracle. Number 4.
If it happened, which, you know, the only people that said it happened are the people in his hadiths who were his followers. That's the only people. There are no extra Quranic sources or extra hadithic sources that show that this actually happened. How do you show that actually happened? Because I can set up very easily a very primitive way to trick people into thinking water is flowing out of my fingers. I could do that.
Prophet Muhammad could talk to trees, plants, and even stones. Again, there is...
Yeah, and like the first one, like, is there any evidence that they talked back? Because a guy that talks to trees, plants, and stones generally is just somebody with mental health issues, to put it bluntly. Like, if I went around talking to trees, plants, and, well, not so much plants, right? People talk to their plants all the time. It's apparently good for them, gives them carbon dioxide. Sure. Trees, you know, I do remember, you know, my brother and his wife, my sister-in-law, they sort of told their son to thank the trees for all of the oxygen and stuff. So, you know, people talk to trees. Do people talk to rocks? I don't know. Pet rock, maybe? Maybe? I don't know.
So many hadiths about this. There was a stone that every day Prophet Muhammad would pass by and say salam alaikum to. Even the Sahaba heard the stone talking to him. There was trees. So when
he heard the stone talking to him. Okay.
Prophet Muhammad did sermons, he would lean on some of the trees and they would be upset if he didn't lean on them. But my apps...
It cried like a child. Okay. Okay. Are you sure there was not just a child behind the tree? Are you sure? Are you sure there wasn't a child behind the tree?
Absolute favorite happens on a mountain.
Are you sure it wasn't, you know, his wife crying because she was only 8 and married to this dude? Are you sure it wasn't that? What was this? Is it Alicia? What was his wife's name? Well, one of his wives, the youngest of his wife. Let's put it that way. Aisha, who he apparently like married when she was 9. Maybe it was her behind the tree, because dang, that is ruthless and disgusting. Like, seriously. Ugh. Wow. Maybe his like underage wife was behind the tree. Maybe that's why it was crying like a child.
So one day Prophet Muhammad is with 3 other people on a mountain and the mountain started to shake. And then Prophet Muhammad said, "Be firm, O Uhud," the name of the mountain, "for upon you is a prophet, a truthful one, and 2 martyrs." Martyrs are people who died in battle for Islam. After he says this, the mountain immediately stopped shaking.
Well, it doesn't say immediately. It said it became firm and stopped shaking. How long after? Because if you've felt an earthquake before, it usually doesn't go on forever. Mind you, there can be aftershocks, but sure. So it's a prophet, a truthful man, and 2 martyrs. So all believers in the faith. Yeah, okay, sure.
That's just incredible. But on top of this, what he said about the people is another prophecy. Because it's true, 2 of those people that were on the mountain with him became martyrs. So
who were those people? Or did they just say those people became martyrs? That's what I'd like to know. Like, yeah. Well, that's the problem. That's the problem. They just basically say, hey, this person said that they talked back. And that's the problem. That's just written in the holy book. And it's what, religions have done since the beginning of time. They have sort of said, oh, these people saw it. That's what the Mormons did. Oh, these people saw the golden plates and they saw him, do these things. Yeah, I don't believe them.
Not only did he communicate with the mountain, but he also predicted that 2 people would die martyrs. This is just incredible. Number 3, the miracle of bringing rain in the drought.
The antagonist tonight is revolting. Like the game last night, good idea. That's fair. I love to laugh at this stuff, Kings Mason. I find it hilarious, mate. So I'm sorry, but hey, that's what I'm doing today. So that's what I'm doing today. The last night was a member stream, so it was members only. If you do wanna join that, do link for down below is for joining the members, and you get to sit in and then just random gaming streams as a thank you to all of the people that become members of the channel. Just every fortnight. That's something I've got a little bit of time I can do that. Probably took too much time last night, but that's okay. That's all right. I'm totally cool with it. That's my problem, not yours. And it's just a thank you to everybody for being part of the channel, part of the experience, part of the fun. Yeah, but Kings Mason, I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Now this one is one of my absolute favorites. There was a massive...
Is rain a miracle? Is rain after a drought a miracle? Like that's the thing. It's weird because in Australia, right? I don't know if this is true for everybody, but in Australia, you can smell rain coming, right? You can smell when the rains are going to break, when the drought's going to break. It's kind of, this smell you get and this feeling that you get. It's kind of when there is a drought, it smells a certain way when it's going to rain. Not to mention, there's going to be clouds. Whoa. My feed suddenly filled. Jessica, thank you so much. Jessica, the Trans Metal Alchemist, dropped 10 double digits of readerships, of memberships to the channel. Thank you so much, Jessica. That is amazing. I will get my announcer voice going because I am nothing except a man-child. That goes out to 1 by land and 2 by sea. Run if by 5475. You know what? This used to be so much easier when it wasn't the usernames and it was just the tags. When people have their it used to be so much easier. YouTube, what are you doing? Al Trucker, Fern, Love Bond, Griff 01, Joey, Crikey 2594. Look, I'm gonna skip the look. Okay, just real talk. I'm gonna skip the numbers because that's too much. Like seriously, YouTube is killing me. They're killing me. Like seriously, what are you doing? Ocarina, 4 words backwards. Essential Blend Broadcast Cat. Wow, my voice is going. Save me. Optimus Rhymes. Thank you so much. Winner, chicken dinner. Enjoy your emotes and other benefits like the gaming streams and my sincere thanks. Thank you so much, Jess. You are the biggest winner of all. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And, Jess is really active on the Discord, which you'll find in the bottom below if you want to join the conversations there. Yeah, absolutely. Fantastic. Thank you so much, Jess. I really appreciate it. That's awesome. And I'll put some chicken in the chat for you because everyone likes chicken, right? Everyone likes... I should have done this with... I'm not great at accents, but I should have done this with an extreme, extreme Queenslander accent, eh? Like a Queenslander accent. It's so amazing, right? That's my best Queenslander accent. Don't hate me for it, all right? Miracle of rain. Yes, that miracle. When it rains, it's a miracle. Drought ending has never happened before.
Drought, and rain hadn't fallen for ages. And the people came to Prophet Muhammad and asked him for rain. And Prophet Muhammad started to pray to God, and the rain immediately began to fall. They couldn't believe it, and it fell.
Yeah, I don't believe it either. That's the thing. Is there any other thing about except people that were worshippers? And don't forget again, his uncle, who was around for all of this, didn't believe him. It didn't believe him. Oh, look, Kip, that sounds amazing. That sounds amazing, mate. That sounds absolutely amazing. You're going to make me hungry. That's okay. That's okay. You do you, buddy. But yeah, that sounds amazing. I love mushroom. You know, a good mushroom soup. You know, mushroom. What's the rice thing? You make mushroom rice stuff. I've just had a mental blank. I've just had an absolute mental blank. Why can't I remember what it's called? Wow. Okay, I'm losing my mind. I think this woman is actually making me dumber. I think it's happening. The creationists are finally destroying my brain. It was a conspiracy all along. No, not Pilaf. It's more Western than that. You like put wine in it. It's actually really good. Risotto. Why could I not remember that? Yeah, mushroom risotto. Wow. Okay, my risotto. Yeah. Sorry, Kip. Yeah, no, I got you. Wow, my brain. Okay. This is a conspiracy by the creationists to destroy my mind. Okay, this is a conspiracy. I'm starting it. I think that pre-sups are trying to destroy my mind by the stupidest arguments I've ever heard, and that is it's working. It's working, people. It's working.
So heavy, like so heavy, the people were afraid that it was going to flood. Like,
oh, what a miracle! What a miracle! Yeah, inundation so bad that it floods you out. Yeah, that's awesome. That's a real miracle right there.
So the people came back to Prophet Muhammad and said, please, can you get the rain to stop? So he prayed again to God, and again, completely stopped immediately. This is just incredible. The people were absolutely amazed. And
describe it? Describe it? Well, I mean, you just start with like sort of butter and a little bit of oil. You cook and saute the mushrooms, put a bit of wine in there, put the rice in there. It's not that hard. It's pretty straightforward. It's usually just a side dish. Magic mushroom risotto. No, thank you. No.
And they were just in awe of the mercy of God. Now on to number 2. Prophet Muhammad could heal the sick.
Oh, yeah, no one's ever claimed that before. No one's ever claimed that before. It wasn't like there was a really popular religion around at the time which had a god around that could heal the sick. No, yeah.
He healed so many people in the name of God. He healed the blind, he healed the sick, he healed the injured. But this one is my absolute favorite. So one day they were at battle and a man came to Prophet Muhammad and his eye had fallen out of its socket. So Prophet Muhammad went up to him, placed the eye gently back into the socket and got his spit and rubbed it over the eye.
Okay, this is not real medical information. If somebody's eye pops out, do not rub your spit over the eye. Okay, please don't do that. Do you know how many like diseases are in human spittle? That's disgusting. That is disgusting. I don't believe I'm Googling this. If an eye pops out, how do you put it back in? All right, I know nothing medically. But they definitely can put it back in. Yeah, I mean, it can be done. It sometimes can be put back in. Yeah, so if all of the nerves and everything's still connected, if it hasn't impacted the optic nerve or extraocular muscles, you can put it back in, but do not do so. Go to a doctor, right? Somebody that will not rub their saliva in your eye, you know. Yeah, and that's a good point. Skeptic philosophy. Yeah, Jesus used to spit. 9 out of 9 holy men. Yeah. Um, Asclepius did it first. Well, sounds like it was most recently done by Hoktua.
He made a prayer and all of a sudden the man could see. And according to some stories, apparently the man said that he could see better out of that eye compared to his other eye after all this happened.
Yeah, that I don't know about that one. That sounds like, sort of placebo effect to me. Did he do any empirical tests, or was it just, oh, I feel like now it's been blessed and I can see better out of this eye?
Like, this is just incredible. Again, there was so many witnesses to this to testify to it. I am just gobsmacked. This is just incredible. Why does no...
But none of the witnesses weren't Muhammad's followers. That's the whole point. And I know that the book says, oh, well, there were these people that were unbelievers, but the one miracle where he showed it to unbelievers, they didn't believe him. Yeah, they didn't believe him. And then you bring up a picture of Charon the moon to show that our moon, Luna, has been split in half, which is just ridiculous.
No one talk about this. Now,
well, because it sounds like bullcrap. It doesn't sound like something that has been thoroughly researched or thoroughly vetted or has any kind of support except within the religion. Like, all of the religions, including newer ones like Scientology and the Mormons, have these miracles that occur that the only support they have for it is the claims of people that believe that religion. I mean, some of the miracles you hear from Christianity, modern Christianity, like, for instance, the leg lengthening miracle. And before you say, hey, no one believes that, I spoke to someone that did. I myself have spoken to someone that believed that, hey, this person's leg was shorter when they came to the church, and then they lengthened their leg to be the same length as the other. It's an old carny trick. It's not a miracle.
Last but not least, my absolute favorite miracle.
Oh, her favorite. Oh no. What's your favorite? Do I want to ask? Oh, okay. All right. Let's just say goodbye to these brain cells. I didn't need them. They were just weighing me down. I'm going to move so much faster without all of these brain cells I'm going to lose. All right. Let's go. Let's go. I sacrifice for the good of society. All right. Let's go.
Miracle of Prophet Muhammad is, drum roll please, the living eternal miracle, the Quran. Prophet Muhammad.
I'm sorry, it's the existence of a book. It's the existence of a book. A book exists. Well, that's it. I'm starting my own religion based around the Magi from Lord of the Rings. And as a miracle, my absolute favorite miracle for Gandalf and the worship of Gandalf as the one and true prophet is that we have the miracle of the book Lord of the Rings. That's it. Donations will be accepted. Donations will be accepted. All right. It does involve a fair amount of rituals. You will have to have a second breakfast. That is required. Okay. But holy crap.
Muhammad, he couldn't read, he couldn't write, and somehow he's produced this book, 77,000 words, and memorized it over years of time.
Yeah, people that can't read are really good at memorizing stuff because they can't write it down. I don't. Wow. Yeah. I don't know why he just didn't tell a rock and have the rock repeat it to everyone, quite frankly, but, you know, who knows?
How is that possible? It's miraculous.
He had scribes and a good memory. Wow. Wow.
This linguistic nature is just
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, Ember. I am selling this hard. But the other thing you have to do is throw all gold rings into volcanoes. That's the other ritual you've got to do. Because that's clearly what the prophet Gandalf wanted. Okay, that's clearly what they wanted according to the most holy book, Lord of the Rings.
parallel.
Oh, no, absolutely not. It's definitely Tolkienism. Tolkienism? Sure, I don't know. Look, do your own headcanon. I'm wow. All right.
Its divine speech and profound wisdom just surpasses any other miracle.
It really doesn't. It really doesn't. And sort of, I made a comment to this, and in the comments I mentioned to somebody who said, "Oh, it's like the perfect book." The Quran says that shooting stars are lamps thrown by devils. Okay? It's not, this book isn't a miracle. It gets things completely and utterly wrong. As someone pointed out in the chat, I don't remember who it is, but they did point it out. It does say that the sun rests in muddy water at the end of the day. And look, nobody is saying that, oh, these people were so stupid and they were, you know, all of these things. No, they just had knowledge available at the time. And some of those, they didn't know what was going on. But, you know, if the Quran was a perfect holy book that was dictated by a prophet of the all-knowing master of the universe, it wouldn't get that shooting stars are lamps thrown by devils. Okay, it would describe them as rocks from space going through the atmosphere and crashing to the ground. They're not lamps. They're not thrown by devils.
Quran stands as the greatest miracle ever. If I go,
that's a pretty bad miracle, lady. That miracle is shockingly bad. You know, I mean, what I'd like to do, what I really would like to do with these people is sort of go, how would you react if someone said the Bible is the greatest miracle in Christianity? Right? Like, you would say, that's ridiculous. It's just a book. Yeah, and they would say the same about yours, and I would say the same about both of them. It's not a miracle that someone wrote a book. It isn't. Like, I'm sorry, even if it's like a beautiful book, even if it's a poetic book, even if it's a moving and emotional and wonderful book, it still isn't a miracle. People write amazing books, except for Kip, apparently, who I bought his book, and I am reading it, but he's apparently, according to some, he's never written a book. But yeah, people can write great. Kip wrote a great book. It doesn't mean that it's a miracle. Come on. Kip wrote a book, even though he's never wrote a book. If that's not a miracle, I don't know what is. Kip, I'm going to start your religion right now. It's going to be Kipism. It's going to be Kipism, and you're gonna have to, you know, love the fucking Bible.
Into all the miracles of the Quran now, we will literally be here for hours. So I will just quickly, briefly mention my favorites. But if you guys do want a more in-depth version of this, please let me know in the comments and I can make another video explaining all the miracles of the Quran.
No, I think I've lost enough brain cells over this. So what have we got? We've got a load of claims from followers of the religion. So he's backed up by his own followers. The moon splitting in half, which did not happen, and
I just think it's absolutely incredible.
Sorry, the moon splitting in half, which did not happen. And when he showed unbelievers, they still didn't believe him, that it was like an act of God. Um, what else have we got? Is that it? And the Quran exists. That's a miracle. I don't know why those would be miracles. They seem like, and these predictions that already were true. They were true of humans before, and so he predicted things that have already been observed. Like, people will build buildings taller than one another and try to build bigger buildings than one another. I hate to break it to you, that sort of activity was around already. I refer you to the Egyptian pyramids, where pharaohs tried to outdo one another with their pyramids. He said, oh, they will build buildings taller than the mountains. Hate to break it to you, but the Great Pyramid of Giza is bigger than some mountains. Right? So she sort of motioned that, oh, people would be naked. Yet in public, people were already naked in public. There will be people who act as women. That already existed. Like, all of these things already existed. It's not a prophecy. And the one about having the hour casting a shadow over Mecca, people who knew about that prophecy built that clock tower. They built it because that was the prophecy. That's not supernatural prophecy. It's not. None of that is. Oof.
That for 1400 years, not one.
Every single one except Islam, Sapphire. How many religions you're going to have? Every single one except for Islam, because those miracles are fucking terrible.
One single word has been changed. God literally...
Yeah, you probably should have changed the part about lamps being thrown at demons, or, the sun resting in a muddy pool at the end of the day. But yeah, no, I'll agree. Not one single word has been changed. It's been copied accurately. It's not a miracle.
He said that he will protect the Quran, and it's happened. We know.
But I do note that there's a whole bunch of hadiths that have sort of been added to it. They're more interpretations kind of thing. So it's not like it's just the Quran in isolation makes Islam. No, there's a whole bunch of things people add with the hadiths that add to it. And also there's other writings which add to it. So, yeah. I can't remember the other book. The Sunnah. Yeah, so they're traditional customs and practices of the Prophet Muhammad, largely derived from the Hadith. So it's their interpretation of it. So it's not like the texts have not changed. It's just the central text doesn't change, and probably should, to update the information in it. And sort of their interpretation does change because they have abrogations in it. They have things in that they abrogate, basically. They say, hey, this no longer applies.
For a fact that the Quran is the exact same as what it was when it was revealed to Prophet Muhammad. We've got original scriptures that are carbon dated back to the time of the Prophet. We've got the Sana manuscript, we've got the Topkapi manuscript, the Birmingham manuscript. It's all there and it's all exactly the same. It's just incredible. And on top of that...
Yeah, it's pretty cool that they preserved it from that... that length. It's good. I don't think it's a miracle. It's not the oldest text that we've found. What is the oldest holy text that we have? And I mean, it was from what, the 7th century? I think it was 7th century. So it's not as long as say the New Testament or the Old Testament. Right, like it's not as old as those. There was Sumerian clay tablets like Kesh Temple Hymn. Oh, Epic Gilgamesh, of course. That was really old. 2150 BC. Okay.
It's been memorized by billions of people throughout.
So what? So what? Like, this is just, people memorize the Quran. So people memorize the Bible. It doesn't make it true. What the hell?
the years. Like, it's just impossible to change the Quran. I was actually praying in the mosque the other day, and the imam made a mistake in the prayer, and people straight away called it out and knew the difference and knew there was a mistake. So it's just impossible for the Quran to be changed at all. It's an exact match to what the Prophet Muhammad revealed 1400 years ago. Oh, and just one more thing that I absolutely love,
including the stuff that's wrong, unfortunately for you, but you know, there you go.
About the Quran is in chapter 223. The Quran actually challenges the disbelievers to produce something similar to the Quran, even just one verse, and they can't.
People can't produce something similar to the Quran. I believe that's a matter of a subjective opinion, right? What's similar to the Quran? I doubt that. I doubt it. For a start, that'd have to be like producing it in Arabic, which I couldn't because I don't speak Arabic. I don't know what he means by similar. I very much doubt that. What I would think is that believers will go, oh, well, that's a verse, but it's not like the Quran for reasons, and I don't know why. I have no idea what she's talking about, and I don't know how you would evaluate it, right? Like, I really don't know. I think that would be a very subjective thing. You know, what is the criteria here? You know, like what's the criteria? It's like saying, hey, you can't produce any kind of work of fiction that's similar to Lord of the Rings. And then when someone writes something, you go, no, it's totally different. Totally different. You know, yours does not contain wizards. You know, like it's, yeah, no, I don't accept that.
But the unbelievers at the time actually chose to go to war than to do this simple task. This just proves that it's the word of God. If anyone could come up to this task, they would. And
what is your criteria? Like, what's your criteria here? I'm sure someone could write something that is similar to it, but how similar are you talking about? I feel this is sort of hand-waving away, or just really dogmatically believing that this verse is true, you know, by hand-wave rejecting anything that's anything, you know, anything like it. No. Yeah.
that would be the end of Islam. Not even ChatGPT today can replicate even one verse of the Quran. Just wow. And
is that true? Sorry, I have to look this up. I don't usually use this kind of stuff. Let's see. Can you make up a verse similar to the Quran? I can create an original, respectful poem inspired by the themes and elevated tone often found in the Quran without copying its language structure or claiming any divine origin. Here's a brief verse. Verse, original. By the turning of the stars and the breath beneath dawn and dusk, every soul is weighed in what it shelters in the heat. The path is made clear for those who reflect, and loss befalls only those who turn away while seeing. Indeed, in patience and mercy there is a return, and truth belongs the final word. Whoops. Oh, sorry, I'm very zoomed out here. Hold on a sec. Whoops. Whoops. Is that similar enough? I mean, that is a verse similar to the Quran, imitates the Quran. But the whole idea that ChatGPT can't do it is a lie. It's just a lie. Sorry. Another debunking right there. Wow, yeah, believe what I tell you. Don't question it. Don't actually try it for yourself and see if I'm telling the truth. Just believe it. Just believe it.
And one more thing is the Quran, like when I read it, it feels like it's speaking to me. It feels like it's a modern day book.
No, I'm not the Messiah. ChatGPT is the Messiah. Go out and worship it. Go out and worship it. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying, Majestic. It's just she's saying you can't even do one verse. You know, like, that's fine. It can.
It doesn't feel like it's outdated, that it was written 1400 years ago. So it's just amazing.
It absolutely does. It absolutely does. It does, because it talks about things that we know scientifically are not true, like splitting the moon in half. Like, it does feel that old. Wow.
That the Quran was able to continually be refreshed and renewed and be able to be understood no matter what time you live in. So why are Muslims gatekeeping all these miracles?
They're not gatekeeping. You're literally on the internet telling people a whole bunch of bullshit. That is not gatekeeping, madame. That is literally audibly and annoyingly claiming a whole bunch of crap that you can't actually that is not gatekeeping anything. And I have heard Muslims go on about, I've had debates against Muslims claiming these things to be miracles, like the splitting of the moon in half is a miracle. Wow.
A Prophet Muhammad. But I do kind of think I know why they've done this. Because the answer, I believe, lies in the last miracle, the Quran. I personally feel like Muslims don't speak about the miracles of Prophet Muhammad because they don't want that to dilute the main message of...
Oh, yeah, that's the reason. Not that they're completely baseless claims from believers and, you know, they've got nothing to actually say. No, it's non-dilution. Yeah, no. And the ridiculousness of these, you know, miracles that, you know, demonstrably did not happen, like splitting the moon in half or you know, the lamps and the setting sun. Like, no, that's not the reason. It's because it would dilute the Quran. Yeah, okay. All right. Well, whatever you got to do to get by. Whatever you got to do to get by, Lily. Seriously. Wow.
Of Islam, which is the Quran and God's word. The main message is the oneness of God and what our personal responsibilities is during our lifetime and our test. So if people put more emphasis on this rather than that, I feel like that would dilute the whole objective of Islam. So
objective of Islam. Okay, so what is the objective of Islam? What's the objective? So a criticism that I have of Islam is that it literally means submission, right? That's what it means, right? It means to submit. It literally means to submit to the will of God, right? The goal of Islam is to make people submit to God's will. And that's a problem, because I don't believe your God exists. So I don't think they have a will, so I'm not submitting to it, because I don't think it exists. I think that people are submitting to the priest's will.
So while Prophet Muhammad's miracles are absolutely insane, I just feel like they should...
Well, it's insane to believe them, but, you know, when you mean absolutely insane, they're not great. They're not great. I'll put it that way.
Shouldn't be the main focus of Islam. But yeah, anyways, thank you so much.
All right, so that's Lily J. Suffice to say, I am unconvinced by those miracles for all the reasons I pointed out as we went through. When you actually sort of drill down on them to the actual evidence we have for them occurring, it's literally nothing. It's smoke and mirrors and claiming things have happened when it's demonstrable that they haven't, showing the wrong picture to sort of convince people. It does seem deceptive to me. Now, okay, I don't know if she's purposely being deceptive. I do not know that. But there's definitely something wrong here. That if people believe this stuff, oh, the moon was split in half because it's got this crack, I can see it. There's something wrong there because it doesn't. At that point, You are believing your book over reality. And that's a problem. Because when your book conflicts with reality, how are you supposed to live according to a book that got something wrong? I don't know. Most Muslims or a lot of Muslims just go, oh, well, the moon splitting in half is metaphorical, or, this is kind of things. But it worries me because I know that some of the people that I respect, like I did sort of listen to Mehdi Hassan recently. I think he believes in the miracles, including the moon split in half. And you've got to wonder, when someone so rational and logical believes that the moon was split in half by a magical guy who flew up there in the 7th century, I don't know what to think anymore. It seems like believers to me, and this is just my opinion, right? Believers to me, they can be logical, rational, hold things to an intellectual standard that's consistent, and except when it comes to their religion. I meet so many people that are like, okay, well, I hold to this intellectual standard. I evaluate this based upon these criteria. I will keep this consistent and demand evidence and explanations if it's your religion, if it's this scientific principle, if it's this. But this one religion, they go, no, I'm going to throw my standards out the window. And as William Lane Craig says, lower that epistemic bar to the ground so I can just believe it. And I mean, I don't know what to say to that. Why is your intellectual sort of consistency suddenly fall apart at your own religion? It seems like a failing of humans. It really does, that we have these things that we cling to that may not be demonstrable and may not be able to be proven in any way. It's really worrying, because those people, if you're giving up the integrity of your intellectual consistency for one belief, there is a high probability you will do things for other beliefs that you want to believe are true, because it is motivated reasoning. You want it to be true. And that's a bad way to decide whether things are true or not. It really is. And that's my worry for religious people, because they seem to fall into these traps a lot. And they seem to be manipulated by people a lot, by saying, hey, this is what God wants. This is the things that God wants you to do, regardless of the harm it does to other people. So it makes me worry. But, I don't know if this woman is being disingenuous, or whether she literally just believes stuff that's pushed at her by other Muslims. Because, sort of saying there's a crack running down the moon and putting up a moon of Pluto instead of Luna, our moon Luna, is really stupid. Like, if you didn't check to see if that was a real picture of our moon that you're claiming, that's absolutely silly. Like, I don't, when people put stuff up, I don't just go, yeah, okay, my this atheist said it must be true. I want to confirm that it's true. I don't just, So yeah, dishonest, just not very thorough. You make up your own mind. I honestly don't know. Neither would surprise me. And I found I've been saying that a lot. Like, whether this person believes in a God, whether they're grifting, whether she's dishonest and lying, whether she's just too distracted or whatever, or just doesn't do reason, neither would surprise me at this point. Could go either way. I don't know. I'd like to think, like, sort of, so not to attribute things to malice which can easily be attributed to incompetence. I would like to believe she's just got this off other Muslims, believed it wholesale, and then is passing it on to other Muslims, as the truth. But at some point, you're going to, and coming from a debate point of view, and all of these sort of Muslims that want to, at some point, you're going to step into the ring with an atheist, or someone like Ember that's very well read on astronomy, and you're going to look like an idiot if you just don't fact check what you're putting out there. And I do try to. You know, everyone's guilty of making mistakes and not getting things right. Sure, I tried. At least try. Please, just try. Okay? Please, just try. Anyway, that'll do for Fundamentalist Fails for a Friday. I've had a great time. This was... look, you know, people are annoyed by her accent. Look, I listen to Queenslanders. They're fine. The accent's fine. She's fine. You know, I don't find her annoying. I'll couch that. Okay, I want to couch that. I don't find her more annoying than the average theist out there. Okay, I find her basically the same level of annoying as everybody else, right? I don't find her extra annoying. I find it funny. She makes these horrendous mistakes and these really bad fallacies. I find it really funny. This one was hilarious to me, especially that the moon was Charon, which I didn't know at the time. That's hilarious that was a moon of Pluto. That is, come on, that's almost objectively hilarious. Come on, I mean, seriously, that's why you're here, because the fundamentalists, they fail, and that was one. Like, okay, so maybe I think this year for Christmas I'm going to do a fail of the year. Yep, that's right. I'm doing a fail of the year. And I think that she may have gotten it. I think she's done it. I think... What do you reckon, chat? Do you think she deserves fail of the year? Fundy Fail 2025 belongs to Lily, what's her last name? Lily something? Lily J, who put up a picture of our moon with a picture of a moon of Pluto. I think that is... I think she's done it. She wins. Maybe that's the miracle. That's the miracle all along. Atheists would... You will win a fail of the year from some random YouTube channel that nobody cares about. Maybe. I'll think about it. There's a few things I want to get doing. And yeah, I really appreciate it. If you could like, subscribe, and help boost the channel, I would really appreciate it. I would like to make this new... Look, okay, I know I say this every year. I would like to make this new year one of let's grow, let's do some fun stuff, let's get out there. And you know, that's all on me. I gotcha. If you can support me, appreciate it. If you can't, no worries. Appreciate you being here. No worries at all. But thank you so much for coming. Don't forget, be kind to yourself. Okay, be kind to yourself. If you believe something that's wrong because someone's told it, don't beat yourself up about it. Just update your information and keep going. Just say, hey, I was wrong. It's not a big deal. We're all wrong at times. Don't beat yourself up for it, though. You're not expected to be right 100% of the time. Try to fact check. If you're wrong, you're wrong. Just say, hey, I'm wrong, and move on. It's okay. It's okay. Don't beat yourself up about it, though. I do also want to say, be kind to other people. Like, don't just say, oh, she's a whatever because she looks a certain way or does certain things or talks in a certain way. Please, be kind, okay? Like, there's no need to denigrate people because of how they look. I don't think that's fair. I mean, yeah, sometimes we comment on it and sort of say, hey, they look like fill in the blank. But sort of being really mean about it is you know, I don't like that. So I'm sorry. I don't like it, especially sort of misogyny and belittling women because you think they look a certain way. I'm just not with it. I'm sorry. I don't hold with it. But do take care, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, everybody.